Support me, Diet Coke. I need a sponsor and a haircut, and I will sell out. Hello and welcome. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM. It's 10 o'clock. It's the 21st day of May, 2021. It's Friday. And as we revisited earlier today, there is some news from the Critical Role people. Matt Mercer announced today that this current Critical Role campaign, the Mighty Nein, is winding up and might be coming to an end sometime soon. Might be coming to an end sometime soon. In fact, he says, and I quote, "While the current Mighty Nein Critical Role campaign is rapidly approaching its end, this is not the end for the characters we have grown to love in the Mighty Nein, like Jester." Which makes you wonder, what is the future of Critical Role? Is this the end of the Mighty Nein? More importantly, is this the end of Critical Role? So let's do some thought speculating, shall we? Now, this is just speculation. This is just guesswork. This is just making deductive assumptions based upon the previous history of the production of Critical Role. I in no way, shape, or form have any idea what is going on with them, nor do I really care, but we cannot deny their influence on the hobby and how they have changed the paradigm of Dungeons & Dragons and role-playing. So whatever they do from this point on is definitely something that needs to be watched, because they are the figureheads that plenty of Dungeons & Dragons and role players have attached their wagons to, whether for the right or wrong reasons. I am known for my history of complaining about Critical Role, and that on more than one occasion I have held them to task. In fact, one of my very first vlogs was about Critical Role, and why I did not see myself represented in Critical Role. That vlog received a lot of hate. How dare I? How dare I attack Critical Role? Of course you don't see yourself represented in Critical Role. You're not the audience for D&D anymore. You old, fat, white guy who hasn't got out of his basement. That's an actual quote I got. So, without spilling any more salt on the Critical Role buffet, let's assume that sometime before 2021 ends, the Mighty Nein storyline will end. What does that mean? Well, if the previous Vox Machina storyline ending is the base for their future, and the steps we've seen the Critical Role production company take since its initial founding, we can go from there. So, fact, the Vox Machina story ended, and then they did a couple one-shots. Some of the other players took over as DM. Of course, they did the Honey Heist things. They did a couple other games. They worked with other production companies. They did a Paranoia stream. They each went off and kind of did their own things. There was a couple sister shows they did. And of course, somewhere in there, the fact is that they're still technically all of them are voice actors and have careers as voice actors that they might want to get back to. Or not. I mean, Lord knows exactly how much money Critical Role has made each and every one of them, but I'm sure they're all relatively comfortable, and I don't know, maybe they might just be like, I got plenty of money. I don't need to, voice actor anymore. Marisha and Matt might want to start a family. Travis and Laura have one kid. So when Vox Machina ended, there was a time span when they didn't really do anything related to D&D. They did some one-shots. They did some other games. They did like the holiday specials, like the wedding special, and then the going to hell to rescue Grog special, and then after about a year ish, Mighty Nein started. So that is our first hint of what we can expect coming up should Critical Role Mighty Nein be coming to an end. Now, second, they've changed production companies a couple times. They are originally under the Geek and Sundry. They left Geek and Sundry and started the new thing where they are attached to the tether of Wizards of the Coast and D&D Beyond. But earlier this year, they did announce that they were starting their own publishing company and their own production company called Darrington Press. And since then, they've released a board game. They've worked on a board game, and they have a role-playing game coming out. Matt Mercer has written a role-playing game. It's not a fantasy game. It's a sort of a Dresden Files kind of game about magical gangsters on Earth. So if the closest relative to the game he's written is that. So they might do playing that. Also, they might finally cut the tether that attaches them to Wizards of the Coast and D&D Beyond and make the next logical step and become their own private entity. They already have a production company. They always have a publish house. They're already incorporated. So, logically, they could take that next step, or they could remain nestled comfortably as part of the extended Hasbro Wizards of the Coast family and continue to get those lovely kickbacks from D&D Beyond and Wizards of the Coast. But floating over here is that we have Darrington Press, Darrington Publications, Darrington Productions. We're making our own stuff not related to D&D at all. So, we have all that I just said in the computation. God, I'm really tired today. It's probably because I'm still sick. We have the nebulous future over here of, well, Mighty Nein is maybe ending sometime soon. There will most definitely take some sort of break. That would go without saying. If Mighty Nein ends, they need some time to deal with the ending of Mighty Nein, do other projects. So probably we will see take some breaks, do some one-shots, somebody else runs, play some other games, the Honey Heist, whatever, Crit Miss. Okay. So if Mighty Nein ends in 2021, 2022, at least the first half of whatever they're going to do will probably be independent, not related to D&D. But then, and here we cycle back to the question, is this the end of Critical Role as we know it? We've got all this evidence. Home production company. We've already, Mighty Nein coming to an end. They're all getting a little bit older. They're all starting families. What is this takes an incredible physical, mental, and emotional toll on them that we only see the tip of, especially with the the rabid fan base and the fan base that has turned on them on more than one occasion at the drop of a dime. Could this be the end of Critical Role? What does the future hold for Matt Mercer and friends? So, it's hard. It's hard to speculate because But based on the facts and the evidence and the previous things we've seen from them, especially after when Vox Machina ended, I'm going to guess that we're going to see a break of some form after Mighty Nein ends. That break might be half a year, might be a year. Which brings us around to about the time that the first initial forays of D&D 50th anniversary should begin. One half of my logic says, oh, there's no way they're going to miss out on D&D 50th anniversary, especially considering how important Critical Role has been to D&D. They will definitely ride that wave and be part of that celebration. But another part of me says, based on all the evidence, based upon what we've seen, based upon the fact that they have a role-playing game they've already put out, and they have this amazing IP that is Mercer's World, and 50th anniversary coming up, this could be the time for them to cut that tether and make their own Critical Role, the role-playing game. So I'm guessing break. I'm guessing they will somehow be involved with the D&D 50th anniversary, at least the beginnings. But then we get to that, is this the end? What is the future for Critical Role? That stop, that point, can't see beyond that point in the future, that knot in the continuum. Will they remain nestled in the Dungeons and Dragons family, and will we see Critical Role Chapter 3 with all new characters playing 5th edition, whichever variation, thing it is? Let's just, also, they don't play D&D. They're playing Critical Role, the role-playing game D20 right now. It's in Mercer's World. They're using all Mercer's rules. They're using characters and races and subclasses that Mercer created. It's Dungeons and Dragons in name only. And they use the basic mechanics. Break. Something associated with the 50th anniversary, and then either they continue with this strange, we have Critical Role Chapter 3, or they break off and become their own thing. And we see them start using the game that isn't Critical Role D&D, but is Critical Role, the role-playing game. Think of it like Pathfinder. And there's the phone. I should probably answer it. I'm your grumpy guide to all things gaming. I'll talk to you later. Get off my line.